Here we go. I am Nate Crosby. Welcome back to The Summit. This is our first podcast of 2015. I know it's still early on, but I hope you're already kicking butt and taking names. If you are like us, and you probably are since you're listening to this CD, we have some lofty goals for this year, which all center around you. And today we're going to dive right into those goals, maybe more accurately, the mentality behind wealth creation. But first, let's look at a quick update. My book, Dynamic Wealth, is being printed in February of 2015, and I can't tell you how excited I am for that. I've been working on it for the past year and a half, but don't worry. It won't be as big as an encyclopedia. Actually, quite the opposite. We really condense the information down into some no-nonsense, practical wealth-building strategies that the average person can implement and take advantage of. You see, my profession gives me a front row seat to working with many wonderful people from all walks of life. What separates those who actually accumulate wealth and create wealth in any market from those who just dream about it? Dynamic Wealth, named after the process that we created for wealth accumulation and retirement income, will provide answers to that question. Wealth has always been a fascinating topic to me because it is a prize that has been sought by so many throughout history, but only a fraction of its pursuers actually obtain it in the long term. But here's the good news. I believe that you and I live in a time where obtaining wealth has never been easier. None of us have to leave our families behind and risk life and limb sailing to the new world in search of it. Opportunities for creating and obtaining wealth are all around us. If there is such a thing as a luck of the draw for being born in the best time in the best place, you and I should consider ourselves among the luckiest in human history. Yet, despite being born in the wealthiest nation the world has ever known, at a time when wealth is literally created daily, many people believe financial success is not obtainable to them, as if wealth is not their right too. There are some who believe that wealth most often happens by chance, as if wealth is something that can be accidentally stepped in. And perhaps, for a very small percentage of people, that may be true. Sure, we can point to a few overnight millionaires such as lottery winners, or those who unexpectedly inherited large sums of money as evidence that chance wealth does exist. What we find, though, is that money and water share similar properties. Let me explain. Money has a way of seeking out its natural level, just like water. Imagine a calm pool where the water line is just a few inches below the pool's edge. We could use our hands to temporarily push that water up to the pool's edge, but it would quickly recede back to its original level. Wealth, like water, will rise to those who have mastered it and slip through the fingers of those who have not yet grasped the principles of its creation. It is for this reason that why there are so many stories of the lottery winner who is bankrupt just a few years later. Our dynamic wealth process was created to teach clients how to make money rise to them, work for them, and ultimately provide high streams of sustainable retirement income. And I'm communicating without hyperbole when I say it was created to put you on your path to your full potential. No, money cannot buy happiness, but it can provide opportunities to chase dreams, reduce stress, live in the present moment, and ultimately experience a life that you were intended to live. Money is not the end product in life, by any means. Money is simply a tool that can be used to build a wonderful life, if that is what you wish to build. Yes, the scope of this book that we wrote was financially based, or is financially based. But I have found that success in any aspect of life is difficult to achieve in the long term through compartmentalization. What I mean by that is our perception of happiness and success in life are the result of the culmination of linked events that unfold daily, events that don't happen in isolation. Thus, improving one aspect of life tends to have a positive ripple effect on other aspects of life as well. While the chapters in our book will not make you rich in 90 days, as one financial resource boasts, I will introduce you to general, actionable strategies for moving you towards financial independence with your commitment. Broken down to its basics, I believe our book is a roadmap for efficient wealth creation and high sustainable streams of retirement income. In it, I offer no hot stock picks or can't miss mutual funds, but I will teach you a process which our clients and I practice that can dramatically enhance your financial success. I stress your financial success because too many investments have the investor second, third, or fourth in line for profits, if profits exist. Too many people are taught to assume all the risk, while money managers, banks, insurance companies, credit card companies, the government, all benefit from their money first. Rather than being dependent on these entities, we'll use them only when they provide a financial benefit to us. As many of you who are already years into the process know, it's truly an emancipating feeling to be in control of your finances. But thousands of books have been written on products that can unlock the door to financial success. Get rich on growth stocks, dividend stocks, mutual funds, REITs, ETFs, annuities, even life insurance. How many of those books have proven to provide the answers that you seek? For that reason, this book needed to be written. What makes the book that I am talking about different? Well, that's a great question, and it's one that is worth answering for the sake of both you and me. After all, if you read it, you are about to commit an hour or more of your time to read it, and I have committed countless late evenings and early mornings to write it. Time should never be taken lightly. You and I can always accumulate more money. That's not hard, and you have my word I can help you do just that. But time is a vanishing resource. Whoever said time is money got it wrong. Money is a representation of time. If you pay $100 for a golf club, what you are saying through action is that the enjoyment that golf club would bring you is worth the amount of time it would take you to earn $100. You see, the cost of the golf club is time. Through action of purchase, you conclude that the club is worth your time. Or maybe if you're like me, after brief consideration and envisioning myself trying to find my golf ball in the woods or the shrubs of the housing development across the street, you may decide that it's not worth your time. I guard my time intensely, for my time is truly more valuable to me than gold. Hey, can I borrow some of your time? How many times have you heard that before? You see, borrowing suggests that it can be given back, but it can't be. In writing Dynamic Wealth, I did not take lightly the fact that you may commit an hour or more of your time to reading the book. And I intend, through the best efforts of my time, to repay you with real-world wealth building and income-producing strategies that can work regardless of external factors such as market loss, poor economic conditions, inflation, tax increases, disease, disability, even premature death. Wow. That statement sounds extremely bold, I know, but we'll back it up. The value that I will receive for have committed time to writing the book will come from the life-enhancing knowledge that you'll gain from reading it. In many ways, the book is a result of a unique career path. I have worked in or managed many different businesses in the financial service industry, including providing risk management services, property and casualty insurance, life insurance, annuity sales, wealth management, and retirement income planning. Today, I own enterprises in most of those fields. Thankfully, I am blessed with wonderful partners and staff that allow me to focus on client needs. My journey has taught me that what a company wants to sell is not necessarily the best solution for clients. And what is best for clients may not necessarily be what a company is presently pushing to sell. It was for that reason that we felt the need to create a comprehensive financial service organization with complementing divisions of financial expertise to eliminate the need for the product salesman. Let me explain. If you go to an advisor in a captive business, he or she may feel pressure to sell the mutual fund, the annuity, or other investment product their company is presently pushing to market. Additionally, many monoline salespeople can only sell what they're licensed to provide. If an individual goes to a stockbroker for advice, chances are he or she will be recommended the purchase of a stock or a security. If that same person goes to a life insurance advisor, the life insurance advisor will undoubtedly recommend a life insurance product. Both may be great investments, but because they can only sell you one product, the product that they are equipped to sell, the potential for conflicts of interest is increased. In other words, if a salesperson tries to solve every need with one product, there is a good chance the sale may be a better fit for the salesperson than it is for the client. Too often we have had clients come to us who have had square pegs shoved into round holes. We have a saying at our office: don't fall in love with the name of the product, fall in love with the results. Let's remove the name, let's remove the need to push a product, and simply uncover the results that we desire. When that happens, the product or products best suited to help an individual achieve their goals becomes crystal clear. A fine craftsman does not head out to the job site with only his favorite hammer. He brings his entire toolbox and then selects the tools appropriate for completing the job efficiently. Selecting the tools for constructing your financial house should be chosen with the same objectives. Through the evolution of Crosby Advisory Group, over the years, I have had the privilege to meet and help many amazing people of all ages with diverse goals, both actively retired and employed, in all types of professions with ages and incomes as varied as the opportunity our great country provides. If I boiled my experience down into one sentence, it would be this: success leaves clues. There is a well-defined formula for achieving financial success, and it has been implemented by wealth creators since the first coins hit circulation. Financial success is only elusive for those who operate in absence of this formula. It's as simple as following a recipe. And you may ask, how can I say that with such confidence? Well, simply put, I have no reason to believe that it can't work for anyone, because when it is properly implemented, I have never witnessed its failure. Is this process the fastest way to wealth? I can't and I won't claim that. But for the man or woman who has failed for decades trying other means to elevate themselves financially, had they implemented and sustained this process years ago, they certainly would have saved themselves a great deal of lost time. I will claim that is the surest way of creating and sustaining wealth, which I am aware of. The process of wealth creation is not difficult. Baling hay in 90-degree heat is difficult, which was my first job. Creating wealth, however, does take commitment, and this is where many people stumble. The mastery of self must precede the mastery of wealth. Let's talk about the difference between quick gains and sustained wealth creation. If I give you $10,000, what can you do with it? How much can you make for me? That's a question that I often get, and the dollar amount changes, but the question is pretty much the same. Our society has trained us to look for the quick answer. Give me the pill, give me the product that will allow me to succeed today. We tend to steer clear of quick fixes. Duct tape is a great product, unless it has been used as a solution so many times that it's all that's holding your house together. True and sustainable wealth creation is more process than product. In other words, the hot stock or the hot fund this year may be a loser next year. True and sustainable wealth creation is more habit than analytics. Analyzing economic conditions, yes, it can provide an edge, but in the end, we are what we repeatedly do. Are we savers or are we spenders? True and sustainable wealth creation is more easily achieved through synergy of assets than singular investment. What do I mean by that? I can have a great single investment, but I can multiply and I can enhance the power of that single investment if it is paired with other complementing investments that work with it and not independently of it. By having a front row seat to watching our clients' wealth and success grow, over the years, I have discovered those who are most financially successful all share common traits or habits. The dynamic wealth process is the fusion of those habits and an efficient process for wealth creation and income planning. The information in our book was collected and organized over the years. Admittedly, some of the information came very painfully to me, from lessons learned through my own failures. I am not ashamed to admit that I have failed several times in searching for the unbeaten path. Without those failures, the book simply would not have been possible. Some of the information in the book was acquired through both formal and self-education. Some of it came through careful observation. My professional mission in life is to share the experiences and the knowledge I've gained with individuals like you so that you may harness your own power, enhance your financial success, and improve the quality of life with an actionable financial process that is built to work as well in real life as it does on paper. Current clients of Crosby Advisory may request a free copy of our book simply by asking. Give us a call at 855-496-0770 or just send me an email at ncrosby@crosbyadvisory.com. If you are currently not a client of Crosby Advisory, the book can be purchased on our website at crosbyadvisory.com, on amazon.com, at atlasbooks.com, or you can even download the e-version to your Apple iTunes account. Since Dynamic Wealth is a financial book, you would think that we would rush right in to external investments like stocks and bonds and mutual funds and ETFs and annuities, and we certainly do that. But that I have found that is where most financial books fall short. They rush in to discuss the supporting and secondary investments like stocks and bonds, but they fail to address the true engine of wealth creation. Our firm literally has hundreds of financial products that we carefully select from when constructing our clients' plans. However, the single most powerful, surefire investment that is available to you, I can't give you. But before you add my name to a choice word, let me tell you, I can't give it to you. You already have it. Therefore, my objective is to help you enhance it. You must also understand that growing this investment comes at a price, but the price pales in comparison to the payoff. When I first discovered this investment, I tripled my income in 12 months. Now, I say that not in boast. I have no reason to brag. Many of my clients since then have done much better their first year, which is a source of great pride for me. I say it as a personal testament to this investment's power. Every other investment that I own is carefully selected and constructed to enhance my very best investment, which is me. Over my lifetime, I have owned many different types of investments, including but not limited to mutual funds, stocks, bonds, ETFs, life insurance, annuities, REITs, and closed-end funds. None of them have ever held a candle to my own ability to create wealth by harnessing my talents and ambition. Now, it took me a number of years for me to realize that, though. I was constantly looking outward for the best tool to grow money and to create income when my best investment was literally right behind my face. Business guru and legendary motivational speaker Jim Rohn once said, "To have more, you must become more." Let that sink in for a second. In fact, I suggest that you write it down and keep it somewhere where you can see it every day, because I can say with absolute certainty that it is a fundamental pillar of wealth creation. If Moses would have brought down from the mountain 10 Commandments of Financial Success. To have more, you must become more would have been commandment number 1. So in order to become more, we need to go to work on ourselves. What is the difference between those who create and obtain wealth and those who chase it or only think about it? The question can be answered in one word: habits. Some interesting stats. Through his studies on human achievement, noted author and public speaker Brian Tracy concluded that the rich spend the majority of their spare time on education, while low-income earners tend to spend the majority of their time, on average, on entertainment. According to Tracy, the rich spend less than an hour a day watching TV, while on average, low-income earners spend more than an hour a day watching TV. The rich spend less than an hour a day on social media or surfing the internet for pleasure. The low-income earners tend to spend more than an hour a day on social media or surfing the internet for pleasure. On average, low-income earners spend approximately 8 hours of their day on some form of entertainment, which includes TV, internet, video games, chit-chatting at work, emailing, texting, etc. 8 hours of the day, that's hard to believe. That's half of the day when you consider a third of the day is spent sleeping. Brian Tracy also points out that this is not to say that the rich do not seek entertainment themselves. They do, but they do so in moderation. Continued education is a priority that comes first. I think the key phrase there is continued education, because accumulators of wealth never stop learning. At no point in their life is their education complete. Most people suffer from what I call arrival syndrome. I finished school. I'm finally done with my education. I have arrived. A star football player spent all winter, spring, and summer training his body to get in tip-top shape in preparation for the fall season, to be the best player that he could be. When the season starts, now would it make sense for him to say, "I'm as strong as I need to be," and never enter the weight room again? What would happen if he did? Well, anyone who has ever trained before or studied human physiology knows that he would begin to regress physically. As an old college professor once told me, if you don't use it, you'll lose it. Your mind and mental skills are no different. You must constantly train and add knowledge to avoid regression. Why? Well, life moves forward. Accumulators of wealth flex their mental muscles by constantly feeding their mind with a steady diet of positive education. All of a sudden, some guy in the back row stands up. "Well, hey, Nate, well, that's fine for them, but I've got a full-time job and a family. Who has time to go back to school?" Well, I'm not talking about formal education. Don't get me wrong. Formal education is great, but self-education pays the greatest dividends. Now, I promise you that. In his book, Rich Habits, Thomas Corley discovered that, on average, the rich read 2 books per month. Wow, who has time to read 2 books per month? Well, you do. Through commute time alone, I can typically finish 4 books per month. Today, self-education has never been easier. We can stream audiobooks from our phones or portable devices. Don't have one of those? Well, how about the old-fashioned library? Check out 2 audiobooks on Saturday or Sunday and listen to them on your drive to work. Turn your car into a mobile university, a college on wheels. You can obtain the equivalent of a college education in your car. Anthony Robbins refers to this as net time, no extra time. You have to make the drive anyways. Will you spend it improving yourself or listening to music? As humans, though, we tend to only value the things that we pay for. Think back to when you read Thomas Paine's The Crisis in high school. Hopefully you read it. Paine wrote, "What we obtain too cheap, we esteem too lately." We value physical possessions, don't we? Those things that can be easily replaced. A home can burn down and be rebuilt again, but those things that come to us for free are actually more valuable and cannot be replaced. Love, family, ambition, knowledge. Yes, I am aware that I just said that knowledge is free. I realize people pay thousands of dollars for education. I was one of them. But it also comes free if you are willing to take it. Your local library is full of keys that can unlock doors to success, but you first need to go get that key. The key is education, and education in America is free. How amazing is that? It's free. Just take it. The first step to wealth is 100% free. Just take it. But how many people actually make an effort to take it? Or if you actually do. And perhaps that is one major reason why only a small percentage of the population is wealthy. Only a small percentage actually take steps to obtain wealth. Education is the foundation of fortune. If you want to have more, you have to become more. Commit yourself to developing yourself and improving your skills. Constantly add new skills: communication, public speaking, time management, leadership, persuasion, sales, finance, goal achievement, or motivational techniques. All of these are examples of specialized knowledge, not general knowledge. You can pass a high school test when you have general knowledge, but you get paid when you have specialized knowledge. Unless you're a professor, no one is going to pay you to remember what year the Battle of Gettysburg was fought, 1863. If you have specialized knowledge and skills that can help others, money will flow. To begin, sit down and decide what skill or knowledge would most help you achieve your goal, and then check out or purchase a book on the subject. Begin to build a library of specialized knowledge that will help you become more. When you are valuable to others, your clients, your boss, your company, you get paid more. That's how it works. You see, the order is very important. To have more, you must become more. Like the man who sat in front of his fireplace and yelled, "Give me heat, and then I will give you wood." Well, it doesn't work that way. You and I didn't make up the rules, but in order to succeed, we must play by them. And when you set yourself down the unbeaten path of self-education, the next step is to follow up with action. You see, despite what you may have been told, knowledge is not power. Knowledge combined with action is power. Action is what converts potential power to power. A ship is sailing from Port Clinton, Ohio to Cleveland. The ship has a good crew and captain, well seasoned, that has charted a course and knows exactly where they're going and how long it'll take to get there. Now, 99.9% of the time, the ship will arrive in the Port of Cleveland safely. But what if we took the same ship and then we took away the crew and the captain? We also took away a destination. We simply turned the engine on and put the boat in gear. Chances are the ship would not even make it out of Port Clinton. And if it did, it'd probably run aground or sink very shortly after. Goals have the same impact on success. They guide us. We tend to become what we think about. We tend to go where we look, which is why they tell the high wire walker not to look down. So to achieve financial success, wouldn't it make sense that we actually make a goal to become financially successful? And the power of goals are limited when they're trapped inside our head. Wishes exist in our head. Goals are written down and they're said out loud every day. Write your goal down, place it on your desk, and read it every morning and evening until it is memorized, until you can say it out loud several times a day without even really thinking about it. Without direction and a clear understanding of where we want to go, we're nothing more than a rudderless ship. Sure, we may end up someplace, but chances are it's probably not where we want to be. So I suggest that you make your goal very specific. I want to have more money. Well, that's way too broad. I could hand you $1 and now you have more money. And I suggest you put a deadline on your goal when you make it. We tend to work better under deadlines. For example, a woman who wishes to be less dependent on her job to meet financial obligations may say, by January 1st of 2016, I will have built up my investments to produce passive monthly income of $2,500. How much and by when? That's specific. I suggested that you write your goal down. Wishes exist inside your head. Write it down and force yourself to read it every day. As you near completion of your goal, have a new one ready to go so that you're constantly moving forward. Don't fall into the trap of thinking achievement of the goal is the end. It won't be enough. Progression is human. It's in our DNA. It's what we do. Allow yourself to be addicted to the chase of your own potential. And what type of goals should you have? Well, there's many different types of goals, aren't there? There's long-term goals and there's short-term goals. Short-term goals are the ones that are just outside our grasp. They're ones that can be for maybe this week or this month or this year. Long-term goals are a little bit farther out. Short-term goals are those steps we take towards achieving our long-term goals. Long-term goals are those destinations that are beyond the foreseeable horizon. And our short-term goals make sure that the bow of our ship is constantly pointing in the right direction. A short-term goal. By January 1st, 2016, I will build my investments to produce passive monthly income of $2,500. Long-term goal. By age 50, I will be financially independent, able to meet my monthly obligations purely on my investment income. And this will allow me to select work that I want to do rather than work I have to do, which will allow me to devote more time to my family and my personal goals. Again, notice that all the goals, both long-term and short-term, are given completion dates. Writing them down with completion dates transforms them from desires or from a wish to a goal. In school, if you had a test on Wednesday, would you start studying for it on Thursday? Probably not if you wanted to pass it. Deadlines make the completion imminent. You know, I hope that you find Dynamic Wealth interesting. I hope that you find that it's different than most financial books because it devotes time to the actual process of wealth creation. Now, this process doesn't start on a balance sheet. It starts in your mind. And the book does not attempt to extensively dig into the power of the mind to manifest thought into reality, to make goals real. We'll save that for another book, but I can testify that the power is real. In fact, I highly recommend that in your self-study, you spend some time on the power of the subconscious mind and the mysterious power it has on goal achievement. Try Earl Nightingale or Jim Rohn or Napoleon Hill or Darren Hardy to start with. They would all be great starting points. It has long been an axiom of performance gurus and experts and psychiatrists and medical professionals that the subconscious mind has an immense power to impact reality. And now, I'm not a performance guru, I'm not a psychologist, and I'm certainly not a medical professional. But I can attest through my own life and career that this is true. I was taught, I teach, and I currently witness that the surest way to make the intangible goal become tangible is to first make it real in your mind. The trick is to live as if the goal has already been accomplished, that the desired outcome is already a reality, and then it's just waiting for you to receive it and move towards it each day. I was listening to a podcast by Lewis Howes one time, and he said that he actually takes his goals and he frames them, and he puts them on his wall as if they are a certificate of achievement. And he puts them someplace where he can see them, like his office or his house or wherever that might be. And he walks by them every day and he looks at them and he reads them. And again, he has them up there as almost he's already achieved them. So in his mind, he's moving to that goal. And it's not a matter of if, but a matter of when. In his mega successful book, Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill wrote that our subconscious mind cannot tell the difference between what is real and what we perceive it to be real. And that our mind has a strong tendency to make what it perceives to be real, well, real. You don't believe it? I'm guessing that you have already experienced it. Let me give you an example. A man was given a stack of contracts to sign and organize, and he had to overnight it to a company for processing. There was a small window of opportunity to complete the transaction, and this was the first year that the man's boss had entrusted him to complete the job. This deal was always the biggest deal of the year and composed nearly a third of the company's gross revenue. If he missed a signature, if he missed a page, if something was filed incorrectly, the entire deal could be lost, and with it, hundreds of thousands of dollars, and of course, the man's job. That evening, the man told his wife that he wasn't hungry for dinner. His stomach was in knots. He wouldn't know for 2 more days if he had completed that paperwork correctly. What if he hadn't filed it correctly? What about his kids? What about his company? The more he thought about it, he had convinced himself that he had made an error. He was sure that he did somewhere. He couldn't sleep that night. How could he? His chest felt tight and his hands were clammy. When he stood, he experienced shortness of breath. Oh, great. On top of sabotaging his company, he also felt like he was having a heart attack. What happened to that man? Have you ever worked yourself up to the point worrying where you were physically ill only to discover that later what you were worried about actually never happened? That man convinced himself that he had made a mistake. His blood vessels constricted, and he became physically ill thinking about the consequences that would come. 2 days later, his boss called him to congratulate him for a job well done. The man convinced himself and convinced his mind of a reality that was not real. In this example, the man convinced his mind of a negative reality, which led to negative physical results. Now, what if we harness our power, the power of our mind, to produce positive results? You see, your mind is like a pot full of rich potting soil, and the pot doesn't care if you plant a rose or if you plant poison ivy. It will give life to whatever you plant. If you plant something negative, well, it's going to produce negative results. If you plant something positive, it will produce positive results. Have you ever noticed how bad luck seems to follow some folks while good luck follows others? They are simply reaping what they sow. Now, this is my statement, but I was not the first to issue it. A great teacher from Galilee understood that principle and preached it long before I was around. And it's important to understand that we are planting our seeds for success or destruction on a daily basis. Let's examine how the masses begin their day. And for this example, we're going to look at Michael Someday, who happens to be one of the characters in my book. Every morning, Michael's alarm goes off at 7 o'clock a.m., and he knows he has just enough time to hit that snooze button and take advantage of 8 minutes of sleep. Then he'll roll out of bed, take a quick shower, throw on some clothes, inhale a bowl of cereal, and speed off to work, wondering what the day has in store for him. When he arrives at work, Michael will spend 20 minutes checking his email. 5 of Michael's coworkers need things right away, as fires erupted overnight. His voicemail is full of messages requesting the same. He figures before he returns those emails and calls, he better remember to check his fantasy football lineup. He logs onto the website, and all of a sudden there's a knock on his door. Hey, Michael. Hey, I'm glad you're here. Kim's out today, and I need to turn in that Dansbury report. Can I borrow some of your time? Sure, Kay. I'll be right there. Michael's ship is sailing, but it's going wherever the wind blows. After a day full of reaction and no real results, Michael will head back home, wondering what tomorrow will bring him, wondering when he will get that promotion that will lift him out of the rat race that he runs each day. I've got an educated guess for Michael. Tomorrow will most likely bring much of the same. Why? Well, that's what Michael's asking for. That's what he's accepting. Michael takes no steps to ensure anything different will happen. Like it or not, our present lives are a result of past decisions. The only way to change the course in our lives is to change ourselves, change our actions, and change our thinking. Financial success and personal achievement starts with controlling the part of the day that you can actually control. Hey, if your morning routine sounds a lot like Michael some days, give this a try for 90 days and take the first step on a fantastic voyage of achievement and financial prosperity. One common trait creators of wealth share is they control the part of the day which they actually have the power to control, the morning. Creators of wealth don't have access to more hours in the day than the average person. They just take better advantage of the time they are given. They dictate the course of their day rather than having the day dictate the course to them. So I'm going to share with you my secret routine. And I've shared this over Facebook and email a couple times, and many of you have liked it, so I'm going to include it here as well. Now, this isn't my invention or really even a secret at all, because in some form or fashion, it is implemented daily by ultra achievers worldwide. It was shared to me by a mentor of mine years ago, and it changed my life because it gave me the power to change my life for the better. So come on, you got nothing to lose. Give it a try for 90 days, and then make it your own. Add what you need or take away portions that you don't want. But to start with, commit yourself to following the following routine every day for 3 months. Here it is, Nate's strangely secret super financial achiever morning routine. Step 1, it starts with charting a course. The first step of your success routine starts the night before. Before you go to bed, I want you to make a list of all the things that you want to accomplish the next day. And then once you have your list, I want you to ask yourself, if only one of those tasks gets completed, what is the single task that, if completed, would make the day a success? And then circle it. Now here's the key. When you go to work, do that task first. Don't be Michael someday. Don't check your email. Don't return the calls. Don't stop at your friend's office and ask what happened over the weekend. All that is important, but it can wait. Do the day's most important task first. Lock yourself in your office or your room if you have to. If you don't have an office because your job takes you out in the field, that's fantastic. You actually have an advantage because there are fewer distractions. If you do that every day, you're going to be a superstar, because the thing that is most important will be done first when you have the most energy and before the fires of the day take over. Okay, let's get really honest here. If there is a part of this routine that is difficult, it is this. You must be willing to answer the bell. The alarm of the ultra achiever does not sound off like Michael some days 30 minutes before you need to leave to go to work. The alarm of the ultra achiever sounds off at least an hour and a half before you need to leave to go to work. An hour and a half? Yes, that's time that you need for you. Go to bed earlier if you have to. If reaching your full potential required no effort, hey, everybody would be doing it. Strive to be among the 5 or 10% that actually control their future. Well, hey, Nate, that works for you, but I've got kids. There are no bigger blessings in life than children. I've got 3 of them, all girls. Wish me luck. Are there days when my 9-month-old is up at 5:30 a.m., ready to start the day and alter the plans? Absolutely. I have found over the long haul, most of the time through my commitment, I will be able to control the portion of the day which I actually have the ability to control. And those days when Clara decides my morning routine needs a change, hey, that's fantastic. Every moment in life is an opportunity. She hasn't thrown a wrench in my plans. She's provided me with a few extra hours to spend with her. I'm more than happy to say, hey, I'll pick up my strangely secret super financial achiever morning routine tomorrow. Life comes first. For the remainder of the steps, we're going to follow Mark Do-Right. Mark Do-Right also happens to be one of the characters in my book, and he is the polar opposite of Michael Someday. Step 2 is movement creates momentum. Mark Do-Right's alarm goes off at 5:30 a.m., and this is always the toughest part of the day. His entire body tells him to stay in bed. Just a few more minutes won't matter. Mark hears the same voice that all of us hear at 5:30 a.m. He doesn't listen to it, though. He pushes himself out of bed, and he strangely finds pleasure in knowing that he is among the few that actually take control of this portion of the day, and that gives him the edge. After a few minutes of gathering himself, Mark will put on his tennis shoes, and he'll go for a jog. Each morning, the physical portion of his morning varies. Sometimes he'll jog, sometimes he'll walk, sometimes he'll exercise with weights. Though the activity changes, the one thing that remains the same is that for 20 to 30 minutes each morning, Mark moves. Mark exercises. Movement helps Mark get in his peak mental and physical state. Step 3 is gratitude. While Mark exercises, he will prepare his mind for the gifts that he will receive that day. He does this by shifting his mind to a state of gratitude. While he is walking or jogging, he thinks about all the things in his life that he is thankful for, such as his health, his children, his wife, his house, and the opportunity he has to make a positive impact on the world. When his mind is in a state of gratitude, Mark is without want, he is positive, and he's happy. Strangely enough, the world mysteriously rewards positive, happy people. Step 4 has to do with improvement. A mentor of mine once said you should work harder on yourself than you do at your job, and Mark Do-Right understands that. Before Mark heads to work each morning, he will work on himself. After Mark is done exercising and moving his mind to a state of gratitude, he will read for 20 minutes. Mark understands that in order for his mind to run on all cylinders, he must feed it high-grade fuel. For 20 minutes each morning, Mark will read either something positive and uplifting, or something that will help him improve on an existing skill, or learn a new skill altogether. Mark will get more out of the day than he did the day before because each day he becomes more. Mark has learned more and he's acquired more knowledge, and as a result, he is more valuable to his company and his clients. Step 5 is check your bearing. It is important that the bow of our ship is always pointed in the right direction. This is one that I personally overlooked, and realizing its importance, it's made a world of difference. Mark Do-Right will sit down before heading to work, and he'll sit down for 2 minutes, and he will review the short and long-term goals that he wrote down. He will say them out loud so that he can hear them. He has read them so many times that he has them memorized, but he says them anyways because it's important that he hears his voice, that he makes it real. Because Mark understands that his mind cannot tell the difference between what is real and what it perceives to be real, Mark will read his goals as if they have already been accomplished, and he will read them from a state of gratitude. For example, he will say, I am thankful that I have worked to achieve an annual income of $120,000, and I am accomplishing this by becoming the best at my job. I am becoming more so that I can earn more. I am thankful that I will save 12% of each paycheck this year. I am accomplishing this through my unwavering commitment to my future. And I am thankful that my wife and I will amass a nest egg of $2.5 million by age 60. I know along the way I will systematically save until this goal is obtained. So while 95% of the people rush into their day like Michael Someday, not knowing where the heck they're headed, Mark Do-Right knows exactly where he's headed. Before heading out the door, Mark will grab his to-do list. And those were the items that he wrote down the night before. And his eyes will quickly read the day's most important task. And that is the very first thing he will do when he arrives to work. Our friend Mark is not done yet. On his way to work, he will listen to an audio CD on time management. He picked up that CD and an audio CD on leadership over the weekend at his local library. Look at what Mark has accomplished before he has even gotten to work. Now, compound that routine over the next 3 months, the next 3 years, the next 30 years. He'll end up shattering the goals that he laid out before him. Louis Pasteur once said, luck favors the prepared mind. If that's the case, there's no wonder why Mark's friends consider him the luckiest guy they know. Good things always happen to Mark. Mark knows it's not luck at all. His life is no accident. So give that routine a try. I promise over a few months span, you'll be shocked by what you're able to accomplish. I have learned that so much of successful wealth accumulation has to do with habits. And I once heard a story of a master who took his apprentice out into the woods. The master pointed to a small sapling and said, pull that tree from the ground. And the apprentice grabbed the tree and gave it a yank, and sure enough, he uprooted the tree with little effort. Very good, the master said. Now pull that tree from the ground. And the master pointed to a tall, thick oak tree. The apprentice looked up at the tall, thick oak and shook his head and said, Master, 10 men equal to me could not uproot that tree. And the master smiled. Young apprentice, your habits are like trees. The longer they grow, the more difficult they are to uproot from your life. This is important to remember when you are making good habits, as well as how long you permit bad habits to exist in your life. That story really hit home with me because I knew if I was going to meet my goals, if I was going to reach my financial goals or my personal goals, I needed to make a habit of saving. So I set a goal 1 year to save. I was going to save each day. Each day I was going to save something. If I had to look under the cushions of my couch for a penny to add to my savings and investments, I was going to do that. And you know what? On more occasion than one, I did just that. Understand though what that did for me. Each day I was saving money. Literally, I was able to say my wealth grew every day, even if it was only by the pennies that I found underneath the couch. I could say with confidence that tomorrow I will have more money saved than I have today. I will be wealthier and wealthier with each passing day. See, positive momentum is a wonderful thing. Positive habits create positive momentum, which propels you to achieving goals. Creating and accumulating wealth starts with attitude. It starts with habits, and it starts with mind. In order to build your wealth, you must first build yourself. All right, now head out there and get after it. I want to thank you for spending some time with me today. It is truly an honor to serve you. A few more things though before I go. Many of you have investments with SEI, and if you haven't seen already, you'll be proud to know that out of 65 companies for managed investment funds, SEI finished in the top 4. Now remember, if you've spoken with me in the past about saving and investing, you'll know that I am not a guy that chases performance or recommend that you do so. A wise man once told me that if you want to own a 4-star fund, the easiest way to do that is buy the 5-star fund from 2 years ago. Performance will vary. Chasing performance is a losing game. But with that said, hey, I have to admit, it feels good to see a company we trust for you rising to the top. But remember, it's the plan that will give birth to success, and not the fund and not the product. If you've heard Macy's advertisement on WNCO, be sure to give her a call or an email. I am very proud of what she is doing for you, and maybe a bit fearful too that we may one day lose her to radio. She is a natural. After February 24th, Dynamic Wealth can be purchased on our website at crosbyadvisory.com, at atlasbooks.com, or amazon.com. If you have not already, please like us on Facebook, where we put out a lot of free content to help you along in your journey. Crosby Advisory is your home for wealth accumulation and retirement income planning. Until we meet again, never stop building the life you wish to live. I'm Nate Crosby. Thanks for listening.